This video is going to go over general orientation and a walkthrough for the HSM 200 Multi-MIG from H&S AutoShot. This is a professional multi-MIG inverter-based welder that's providing up to 200 amps of power for MIG, TIG, and stick applications on either a 115 or 230 volt line. The 230 volt line connection comes out of the box attached to the machine, but this unit does include a voltage adapter to take this machine down to 115 volts. This welder features voltage, wire speed, amperage, and full synergic scroll settings for steel, aluminum, and silicon bronze on a very easy to see LCD display. Let's talk a little bit about what this machine comes with. Out of the box, we have actually paired this machine into 3 different easy configurations based on what you're looking for. So every machine is going to come with a ground clamp, a professional manual, a regulator and hose, a starter spool, a steel wire, a MIG torch, and a stick electrode. So the MIG and stick package comes with the unit no matter what. And we do also offer the MIG, TIG, and stick package, and we offer a third configuration that is a MIG, TIG, stick, and a spool gun package. And that spool gun is an easy way to transform this welder into a MIG welder for aluminum or silicon bronze. And in addition to the TIG torch, if you do get the TIG torch configuration, it will come with a foot pedal and some consumables for the TIG torch itself. So let's take a look a little bit closer at the machine itself. One of the things before we go any further that I want to clarify on TIG welding, this machine is a DC TIG welder. So what that means for the user is we have great applications for TIG welding for steel or stainless steel TIG. But I just want to make sure that we clarify this. This is not a AC/DC TIG welder, this is not a aluminum TIG welder. This is a steel and a stainless steel TIG welder. So with that being clarified, we talked a little bit earlier about this being an easy to see, easy to use bright LCD display and screen. It is very user friendly, and these left and right knobs will allow us to navigate through these programs, and then we can select these parameters by clicking these knobs to make our selection. We also have a menu button here as well as an enter button up here, and as we go through this, it's pretty intuitive, but we'll walk through it. As we go through the different menus, we have several options available to us because as we mentioned before, this is a MIG, TIG, and stick welding machine capable of welding up to 200 amps of output power. We have our first screen is going to show us we have 4 different selections. We have MIG, MAG, Synergic. And what does Synergic mean? Synergic means we have some smart preset programs based on some parameters, and telling the welder what we have, it will produce a starting wire feed speed and a starting heat setting for what we tell the welder that we have. So we'll go through that in a little bit in more detail. We have MIG MAG manual. So if you're very comfortable with welding and have welded for a long time and know exactly where to set your heat and your wire, you can make this selection for MIG MAG manual. We have stick mode and we have TIG lift, which again, DC TIG, steel TIG, stainless steel TIG. So if we tap the menu button again, we're going to see some different customization options. We have trigger customization from 2T to 4T trigger. We have burn back settings. We have slow feed. We can change the amount of gas coming out before the weld, after the weld, and then we finally have an inductance setting that we can change the overall penetration of the weld. But as an example, if I were to come to pre-flow gas, you can set them here on 0 seconds. If I wanted to change that selection, I would use this selection on this side to increase or decrease my seconds of pre-flow gas. And then once that's selected, I do need to click that in to show that that's been saved. So again, a lot of customization. We also have language settings. There's a ton of options for language: English, Spanish, German, French, and so on and so forth. So we have a lot of different language options here. We have unit options. So if you prefer English versus metric, we can make that selection as well. I'm going to set that to English. We have the beeper settings on or off, brightness, and then there is a factory reset. So if you ever got yourself in a situation where you had a lot of parameters saved and wanted just to go back to factory reset, it's an easy to find factory reset button. So let's go through our Synergic modes a little bit more detail. I'm going to go ahead and make that selection. So right now you see I selected manual. If I come up here, I click it, now I'm in MIG/MAG Synergic. So I'm going to hit the menu button, and here I'm going to find 16 programs. So we're going to go through these just to kind of show you all that we have to offer. There's flux core settings, there are regular steel wire settings, there are aluminum settings, and there are silicon bronze settings. So here, as an example, this is a fairly common wire size and parameter that we're going to go over right now. So program number 6, and again, in this Synergic mode, we're telling the welder what we have and what we're trying to put into the weld. So as an example, I know that in my cabinet, I have a solid wire welding wire where I'm using mixed gas, a mixture of argon and CO2, and I'm using 030 wire to feed into the weld puddle. So I like that program. I'm going to select that. That's what I have. And I'm going to select that by selecting on the right selector. You can see now, I'm going to select by pressing the select button down, and now program 6 is down below here. You can also see that I'm running off a 110 volt line. I have my trigger settings at 2T, and I'm in a MIG mode. So now I have program 6 selected. It's selected here, but it's also locked in down below. And then the only other thing that I need to do is hit the enter button. And now I see my material thickness here and this illustration of material thickness, and below is my material thickness. I can adjust my amps on the left here. And you can see as my amps climb, my material thickness climbs as well. So I'm essentially telling the welder, this is the material thickness that I'm trying to weld to. And you can see, just as a quick review, my maximum amps out on a 110 volt line with this machine is 130 amps. If I want to take this machine all the way up to 200 amps and do thicker material, I would need to be on a 230 volt line. So essentially this machine limits you to what it's capable of and will not let you go further. So this is the maximum material thickness that I can theoretically weld with this on 110. And again, I'm just going to set my amps for my material thickness, what I'm trying to weld. And that's all I need to do. And now all I'm going to do is pull the trigger of the torch. And what will be displayed is my wire feed speed and my heat. So essentially, based on everything that you tell it that you have, it's going to pick a preset starting wire feed speed and starting heat. And you can alter that a little bit and tweak that on the fly if you don't like exactly where it's at, but it's going to get you really close. So a really nice feature on these Synergic settings. So as we go through, again, we'll just kind of go through the rest of these modes. Let's say we're in manual. I'm going to select manual. I'm going to hit the menu screen and hit enter. Now I see inches per minute and I see volts. So I can change my heat and I can change my wire feed speed just like a regular manual MIG welder, just like most people are used to. This mode is available to you. If I go through and go to stick mode, again, look when I select that and press down that stick, now you can see the stick icon is showing. So now when I go to the menu setting, I have a couple of different customizations specifically for my stick welding application. And that's a hot start and arc force. So I have two customization options within my stick welding mode. Then finally we'll go to TIG lift. Again, we're going to select that by pushing it down. Now you can see the TIG mode is selected. I have trigger settings for 2T or 4T trigger. I have some downslope customization and post-flow gas customization. So again, based on the mode that I'm in, I'm going to have different menu options or customization options available to me. So this was a overall review of the welder and orientation of our HSM 200 Multi-MIG from H&S AutoShot.